There was a time when the local mall was more than just a place to shop. It was a meeting spot, a teenage hangout, a weekend ritual. The scent of buttered pretzels and new shoes, the music drifting from store speakers, the buzz of people moving from store to store, it felt like the center of the universe. Whether you were there with your family, your best friend, or that person you secretly had a crush on, the mall was where life happened. Today, we're looking at 10 things that were once a big deal at the local mall and why they slowly faded away. Let's take a walk through those wide corridors one more time. 1. The mall fountain. Remember the fountain? Right in the middle of the mall, big, loud, sometimes over the top, but always beautiful. It was more than just decoration. People made wishes there, tossed in pennies, sat on the edge and waited for friends. Some fountains even had colored lights at night. They felt almost magical. Kids loved leaning over the edge to watch the water dance, while parents took a moment to rest their feet. It was a meeting point, a photo op, and a symbol that you'd arrived at the mall. But as malls started updating their interiors, the fountains were often the first to go. They were too expensive to maintain and just didn't fit anymore. Still, for anyone who grew up in those years, the sound of that water brings back a flood of memories. 2. Orange Julius. If you've ever tasted an orange Julius, it wasn't just orange juice, it was cold, creamy, frothy, and oddly addictive. There was something about grabbing one on a hot summer day, walking through the mall, cup sweating in your hand, and feeling like you had the ultimate treat. The stands were bright, fun, and full of energy. For many of us, it was the first fancy drink we got to order by ourselves. Orange Julius started way back in the 1920s, but it became a mall icon in the 70s and 80s. By the early 2000s, most had been absorbed into Dairy Queen or closed entirely. But for a while, that foamy orange drink was the unofficial taste of every good mall trip. 3. Spencer's Gifts. Walking into Spencer's felt like stepping into another world. You'd start off with the lava lamps and joke t-shirts, but then you'd glance toward the back. The stuff your parents didn't want you to see, and that made it even more exciting. It was edgy, loud, and a little bit rebellious, the kind of store you visited in groups, laughing nervously while pretending to be more grown up than you really were. Spencer's wasn't just about gag gifts. It was a place where teenagers explored identity, music, and humor. While it still exists in some malls today, it doesn't hold quite the same cultural power it once did. But if you ever owned a blacklight poster or a fake lottery ticket, you probably got it here. Or the food court. The food court was the beating heart of the mall. You could get a slice of pizza, an egg roll, a giant soft pretzel, and maybe even a free sample from the guy with the toothpicks all in one trip. It wasn't fancy, but it was fun. Plastic trays, neon signs, the smell of frying oil in the air. And no matter what time it was, someone was always eating a cinnamon roll. This was the place where groups of teens claimed a table and stayed for hours, where parents rested while their kids darted back and forth from the arcade. Today, many malls have either replaced food courts with upscale dining or removed them entirely. But if you grew up in the Golden Mall era, nothing beat that chaotic, delicious food court buzz. 5. Before the internet and smartphones, the mall arcade was everything. You'd walk in and be hit with a wave of flashing lights, electronic beeps, and the clatter of coins. It was a place where time didn't exist, just high scores, rivalries, and bragging rights. You didn't just play games, you watched others, cheered for friends, waited for your turn, and hoped you had one more quarter. From Pac-Man to Mortal Kombat, every game had its crowd. And if you were lucky, you might even spot a kid who was really good, the local legend. Arcades began disappearing when home consoles took over. But for those who lived it, the mall arcade was a playground like no other. 6. Santa's Village. There was a time when going to the mall during Christmas felt like entering a snow globe. Giant wreaths, glittering garlands, and that line, the one with kids all bundled up, waiting to see Santa. They'd sit on his lap, whisper their wishes, and walk away clutching a candy cane and a photo their parents would cherish for years. It wasn't just for the kids, it was a holiday tradition, a moment families looked forward to every year. Today, while some malls still bring Santa around, it's often scaled down or outsourced. But the old school setups with elves, faux snow, and a jolly Santa who really looked the part are getting harder to find. 7. The record store. Before playlists and streaming apps, music lived in the record store. Whether it was vinyl, cassette tapes, or CDs, it was all right there, waiting to be discovered. You'd spend hours flipping through rows of albums, looking for a favorite band or that new release everyone was talking about. The staff knew their stuff too. They'd recommend things, talk music, share in your excitement. Stores like Sam Goody or Musicland weren't just places to buy music, they were places to feel music. And while vinyl has made a comeback, those big mall record shops are mostly gone. 8. The photo booth. There was something so simple and perfect about stepping into a photo booth. You and your best friend, your sibling, or your crush crammed into that little space, making faces and laughing uncontrollably. In just a minute, you'd have a strip of black and white memories you could carry in your wallet or tape inside your locker. The best ones were spontaneous. No filters, no retakes, just you in that moment. Today, everyone has a camera in their pocket, but those old booths, they gave us photos with soul. 9. The anchor stores. Every mall had at least one, a big name department store that seemed to stretch on forever. Macy's, Sears, JCPenney, Montgomery Ward, these weren't just stores. They were landmarks. You could get a new outfit, a washer and dryer, perfume for mom, and a toy for your little brother, all in one trip. They had escalators, gift wrap stations, and entire sections dedicated to just bedding. It was like a city within the mall. But as online shopping took over, these retail giants began to fall. And now many malls sit with their anchors gone, hollowed out and strangely quiet. 10. The mall walkers. If you ever got to the mall early, you saw them. Men and women in sneakers, quietly making laps around the corridors before the shops even opened. They were the mall walkers, retirees, neighbors, old friends, getting in their steps, chatting about the weather, and waving to security guards they saw every day. It wasn't just about fitness. It was community, routine, a way to stay connected. Some still walk, but in many places, they've lost their home turf and that quiet morning rhythm that gave the mall a heartbeat long before the crowd showed up. The mall was never just about shopping. It was a stage for life, full of sights, sounds, and moments that helped shape who we were. Which one of these mall memories hit home for you? We'd love to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments.